I used to drink like everyone does, obviously, but I suppose when I really got into it there was a Belgian beer festival at a pub where I used to live in Stoke that just kind of introduced me to, like, at the time, insane stuff like Orval and like Lambics and stuff like that, and that was like when beer became more of a thing for me than just, you know, going out and getting drunk on it. We messed about with stuff then, so 20 years ago, but it was awful. It was just like really bad kit stuff. So like seriously, like all grain stuff, about 5 years, and that seriously with like the commercial side of it for 18 months or thereabouts. It was supposed to be set up with a mate. There was supposed to be 2 of us doing it, and the whole idea behind 5-0 was it was going to be 50 bottle batches that would be a one-off, and they'd go to one place and they'd be sold and then they'd disappear and never be seen again. And so 5-0 came from like that idea, but also our mutual love of like hip hop and The Wire, obviously, and like that kind of slang term for the po-po in that kind of program and that kind of music. So he just texted me that one night. I was like, fuck yeah, absolutely, yeah, let's call it 5-0. And then he couldn't carry on with it because he had to work. So it was just me. And even though obviously, you know, the whole kind of the whole idea behind it has changed, and now it's just like a small brewery rather than some like a little gimmicky thing. It's just a cool name. It appeals to more people than it should, because like the vast majority of stuff that you get in pubs and in supermarkets and everything else there's some good stuff there. I mean, you can buy Sierra Nevada and Tesco, for instance, but the majority of it has historically been just the same mass-produced, boring brown beers and all that, for want of a better, and lagers and what have you, with the occasional, you know, Belgian. Like, you've been able to get Duvel in supermarkets for years, and it's an amazing beer. But you know, that's kind of the exception rather than the rule, and it all has been for a number of years. And so I think it just appeals to. I mean, people have discovered, I think, that beer isn't just about going out and getting hammered. It's it's every bit as enjoyable and sippable, for want of a better word, as a wine or whatever. And there's always been craft beer around. It just wasn't called craft. You know what I mean? It's just only, you know, since the appropriation of the term from the States has taken off here as well, even though it doesn't have a definition here like it does in the States. That's like, yeah, but that's what it means to me. Yeah. Personally, it just means like flavoursome and maybe experimental, and not necessarily small batch or anything like that. It just is what it is. It's just like it's just beer brewed. I think it was Colin at Buxton who said like beer brewed by people who give a shit about what they do, and that's about pretty much sums it up, I think, for me at least. So there's so many people saying it's going to it's a fad, it's going to die out, and that's bullshit. It's not. It's like good beer is now being appreciated by more and more and more people, and the younger people are getting into really amazing beers, whereas anything other than lager used to be seen as, you know, an old man's drink or whatever. But now those, and it still can be, there are still loads of boring beers around, but they have their place, just like hop forward sours, you know, Berliner Weisses, massive IPAs, massive stouts, and all these things that are much more prevalent now. Every beer still has its place, and I just think, I don't know if it's going to like even out or what in terms of stuff that, I don't know if people are going to get more mental with stuff, or whether that's going to be remain a niche. And now stuff like really good IPAs, really good stouts, really good just beers generally. I don't think that they're going to die out because someone doesn't like a beer being in a keg or whatever. It's ridiculous. But, I mean, that's not going to happen at all. I think it'll plateau, and I think maybe a few breweries, maybe this brewery, might fall by the wayside. You don't know. That's just the way that business works, or on anything else. But I just think it'll continue to be what it is in terms of like experimentation, and it'll become more and more widely available, but only as far as the brewers want it to be. Like Colonel, for instance, Evan, he'd kill himself before he saw his beer in Tesco at the moment. But in the future, that might change, but I don't think it will, not with Evan. But so yeah, I think we may, I don't know, maybe we've hit like peak experimentation, maybe, but then you just don't know, because obviously like every year has its trends. Black IPAs one year, sours the next, Berliner Weisses, what's been this, like barrel aging obviously was a massive one. So there's always going to be these trends that continue in beer, but no one can really tell what they're going to be. And no one, I'm sure there are people that can tell. I can't tell what's going to happen like in the future, but I think it's definitely here to stay. I don't think it's going to die off like people think it will. I think it's going to get stronger and stronger, and the good beers and the good brewers are going to get better and better and better. It's going to be amazing. I mean, now is the best time ever to be drinking beer. Like in the history of beer, now is the best time to be drinking it. But in 5 years' time, hopefully, in 10 years' time, and whatever, hopefully you can still say that then, because it's just going to get just better and better. But we'll see.